Yes, let me start. Let me get that host option. Yeah. Paint. Base. Yeah. Yesterday we discussed what all topics comes under UI and each topic basic introduction you completed. Yeah, what all topics comes under UI and each topic related one example we discussed. Yeah, what is UI and what is the use of UI and each topic brief information only we discussed yesterday. So today I'll continue on the installation procedure of first one here, and who are not attended yesterday. So for them, I'll take separate backup session. Okay. Here, last two sessions, we discussed like demonstration. In the demonstration, I explained here what all topics comes under UI. Here under web UI, generally I'll cover HTML 4 and 5. Second topic, CSS 2 and 3. Third topic, JavaScript. Here, fourth one, jQuery. Fifth one, Ajax. Sixth one, responsive design. Here, responsive design. Seventh one will be Bootstrap. Eighth one will be here, less and science programming. Here, ninth one is project. 10th one is exam. So like this, I'll continue total my topic. Duration of my course will be here next 2 months. Next 2 months, I'm going to continue on all these topics. We are learning here web UI. Here under this UI part, I'm going to show you that list of all topics, all are like this under web UI. Here, and I already explained yesterday and day before yesterday, what is UI. UI here, and when you enter any URL in the browser, suppose if you enter www.google.com, if you enter this URL, whatever application you can see, that is our UI. Here, when you enter any URL in the browser, whatever application you can see, that is what here UI. Here, I can able to see that here, google.com. So once I enter Google, I can show you here search option for that. So once I click on that search option, my data will be redirected to server. So once I click on that search option, my data will be redirected to server. So that server page may be Java, .NET, Python, any one server page, we will use it here to develop our application. To develop our application, we will use it here, any one server programming. This front-end programming always connected to server programming. That server connected to, here is our server programming. This will connect to database. Here our front-end page is connecting to server page, server connected to database, database back to server. Server again will give you resultant page for us. This resultant page is again UI page. This total architecture, we call it as MVC architecture. Model View Controller Architecture. Here is our server programming. The server programmings are PHP, Java, .NET, Python. Here, etc., all comes under server programs. Here, databases are here, any one database, Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, MongoDB, here, like that, etc., all comes under databases. Here again, you will get resultant page for us. That resultant page is again a UI page for our application. Starting page is a UI page. What you are searching here, the result you will get it. All the links you will get it here. These are links also. We call it as our UI page. UI page here it may get data from the server. It may get it may print static information. Any type of implementation you can see here in this UI programming. Here we are learning here web UI. Under this UI part, I'm going to show you that list of all topics all are like this. Here we are learning web UI. Here under this, I'm going to teach these all topics. Here in this, I explain here each topic. What is HTML, what is CSS, what is JavaScript, those all we covered. Here HTML is creating basic, it is a hypertext markup language. It is basically creating HTML is a hypertext markup language. Say hypertext markup language. Here markup means here it is a tag based programming. Here tag based programming. Tags are nothing but it's an instruction to the browser. You can give instruction to the browser in the form of tags. Here in this time, tags are divided into two types. Two types of tags we have. Here one is paid tag. Here one is paid tag. Second one is here unpaid tag. This paid tag, we can write it here. Whenever we write the tag name, you have to close the tag name like this. This is paid tag. Unpaid tag, we will close it here itself. This is unpaid tag. We are writing here two types of tags. One is paid, another one unpaid. That list of tags, all we will write it like this. Here, under this paid and unpaid, you can find it here. Here, that HTML page, this is starting HTML page for our application. This HTML page will connect to server program. This server program will connect to database. Here, our front end page, once you click submit option, see, you will enter your username, you will enter your password. So once you click on submit button, your data will be redirected to server. So here in this time, this HTML is creating basic skeleton. Here, basic skeleton of the web page, we can create it with this HTML. Skeleton of web page, we can create it using HTML. So basically using HTML, we can create basic skeleton of a web page. Next, what we can do it by CSS. See here, CSS, here it is cascading style sheet. Here, cascading style sheet. So it mainly creates a style part of web page. We can create it with the CSS. Style here it is, you can find it here, background color, border, text related styles, font related styles, etc. etc. We will learn under CSS. Because of the CSS, we can create here alignment, not only colorful structure, alignment of web page. We can create it using CSS. Using CSS, we can create it here, alignment of the web page. Basic alignment of a web page, we can create it with this CSS. Next topic here, I explain here JavaScript. So next topic, I have covered here JavaScript. In that JavaScript, I explain here functionality of a web page. I showed you example for this validations. Username required and username should be at least one number, at least one letter. Those all client-side validations. Here, client-side validations, we can create it using JavaScript. Using JavaScript, we can implement it here, client-side validations. Client-side validation for our application, we can create it by this JavaScript, and we can add functionality. Functionality of web page, we can create it using JavaScript. Using JavaScript only, we can add functionality to our application. So functionality here, all functions, our client-side validations. All client-side validations, we can create it with this JavaScript. Then fourth topic of our course is here jQuery. jQuery here it is a client-side validation. Here jQuery here you can understand here jQuery is a browser validation part. So here it's an external library of JavaScript. Here external library of JavaScript, we call it as external library of JavaScript, we call it as jQuery. Under this jQuery, you can find it here, basic one here, jQuery 3.7.1.js. Like this, here jQuery cycle.js. We have different jQuery files, UI.js, jQuery validation.js. Like this, we will use different JS files. Because of this, we can easily implement whatever JavaScript related stuff you want to create, those all you can easily write it by jQuery. So whatever we are creating here, JavaScript related thing, those all you can easily create it by jQuery. jQuery is an external library of JavaScript. Because of this, we can easily develop our application because of this jQuery. Next one here, Ajax. Ajax. I explained about the Ajax. Ajax here it is a asynchronous. Here asynchronous JavaScript and XML. It is a combination of JavaScript and XML. We call it as Ajax. This Ajax, you can write it here, Ajax with JavaScript. Here, this Ajax only, we can write it with jQuery. We can implement this Ajax call in two ways. One is JavaScript Ajax, another one jQuery Ajax. What is this asynchronous? Here, client page without refreshing. Here, without refreshing client page, we can get server response. We are going to get server response without refreshing the client page. That we will understand under this Ajax. Under this Ajax, we will understand here how we will get server response without refreshing the client page. That we will understand here, client server architecture, that you can see here in this Ajax. In this Ajax time only, you can understand here how client page will get server response. Client is getting server response without refreshing, without redirection. That you will understand here under this Ajax. Okay, best example here for this chatting application. Chatting time, you don't refresh. Directly you can show your output for that. So here, that way of implementation, you can see in this Ajax. Here, next one, responsive design. Responsive design time, I explained here, here how to develop our application for mobile phone, tablet, desktop. In all different resolution, in future, in any other device comes, in that device, how to show your output, that you will understand under this Ajax. Under this Ajax only, I'm going to get here, under this Ajax, responsive design only, you are going to see that here, here, we are going to see how to develop our application for different resolution, different sizes of screens, how can you show your output, that I'll explain to you in responsive design. Next one here, Bootstrap. So Bootstrap, it's a framework. It's a framework of HTML, CSS, JavaScript. HTML, CSS, JavaScript framework only, we call it as Bootstrap. Under this Bootstrap, you can find it here, how to develop our application with this Bootstrap. See, I'm explaining here Bootstrap. Under this Bootstrap, you will understand here how to develop our application by this Bootstrap. Here, it's a ready-made framework. You are going to use the Bootstrap min.css file, Bootstrap min.js file, popper.js file. Because of all those, you can develop your application. Next one, here, responsive design, Bootstrap, then lessons. Here, lessons as, here, it is a super set of CSS. Lessons as is best example of super set of CSS. CSS only, something extra we will learn it under lessons. Lessons as time you will understand here. Here it is something extra. In CSS, something extra in CSS you will understand here. This is what I have covered in the last 3 days of sessions. Here totally I have covered these all topics. See, first I mentioned these all topics, and Monday to Friday I'll take topic sessions. Saturdays I'll go for project session and exam. So project session time, piece-wise will develop header part, footer part, and slideshow, 3-column structure. One by one, we will create it in the Saturday sessions. Monday to Friday, I'll take topic sessions. So whatever topic I'm covering in the Monday to Friday session, Saturday, I'll give you a question paper. Once the topic is over, one topic, HTML4 completed, I'll conduct one exam on HTML4. CSS2 completed, I'll conduct one exam on CSS2. JavaScript, once it is completed, I'll conduct one exam on JavaScript. Here, present development, real-time environment is looking for, along with these all topics, any one of the framework, Angular, React, Node. If you complete any one framework, then only you can be a front-end developer. Present market in this, if you want to develop, work as a front-end developer, you have to work out all these topics, along with that any one of the framework. If you complete any one framework, then only you will be a front-end developer. Here we are working with all front-end development. In this front-end development, you can find it here, that list of all topics like this, and each topic brief information only I have covered here. Each topic brief information only I have covered in this. Here we are learning here web UI. Under this, here we are learning here web UI. Under this, here UI part. Here we can show you here that execution of the code. Here I'm explaining here UI. Under this UI, what all topics we have, and each topic brief information, and topic related implementation part we discussed here like this. So now I'll show you that execution of that. Here I'm going for the next one here. How to write our program in this. How to write our program in this. So writing of program, we generally write it here. So we can write our programs in this. To write the programs, we will use it here, Visual Studio Code. Nowadays, we are not using any of the notepad or edit plus for writing the program. For Java, for .NET, for Python, for any programming, we are not using basic notepad or a basic edit plus. We are not using to write our programs. Why? Because it is IDE here, it's an integrated development environment. For Java sake, we have one IDE. For .NET sake, we have one IDE. Like that, we have different IDEs we have in our programming. IDE is mainly used to develop our application. Here, IDE, Integrated Development Environment. So because of that, how to develop your application with this IDE, that you can understand. Here, IDE, we can use it here because of that IDE, how to develop our application because of this IDE. Here, how to run our program, how to develop our application, how to run our program. Those all you will understand under this IDE. Here, IDE is mainly helpful to design our application. Here, IDE is mainly helpful to design our application very easily. And easily, it is integrated with the library of that particular programming. If you use Java, Java related IDE will be Eclipse, NetBeans, IntelliJ, those all. And then .NET related IDEs we have, and Python related IDEs we have. Similar way, if you go for front-end development IDE. It's an integrated development environment for UI. If you check it here, Visual Studio Code. Under this, you can find it here that when best 10 best IDEs, you can find it like this. See VS Code here. In this VS Code you can find, and here only you can find it here. Visual Studio Code here, and here only you can find it IntelliJ IDE. Next Autumn, NetBeans, here Eclipse, Sublime Text, here PyCharm, here brackets, here like this. Here you can find it here, that list of IDs, Notepad++. Like this, you will find it here, all IDEs like this. IDE is mainly used to write. It's an integrated development environment. IDE, integrated development environment, Visual Studio Code, IntelliJ, Autumn, GitHub, NetBeans, here Eclipse, Sublime Text, and PyCharm and brackets. These all comes under IDEs. IDE. Here, first priority goes to Visual Studio Code. This is the first IDE. VS Code is the first IDE to develop our application. Here you can see that here, that IDE, here VS Code. It is integrated languages are here, C#, C++, Python, here PHP. Along with UI, this Visual Studio Code is integrated with a 36 distinct programming language. So different programming languages it is supported. Here it is built-in support for the JavaScript, TypeScript, Node.js. It is a built-in support for TypeScript, JavaScript, all related stuff. Here we are going for web UI programming. Under this UI programming, we are going to see that all the list of topics all are like this. Here under this UI programming, you can see that here web UI, under this UI programming, you can show that execution of the code will be like this. Here execution will be like this. So because of that, you can run your program, you can execute your program. So here in this time, whenever we write our program, we normally you can write it in the notepad. For our UI development, you can write it in the notepad. You can execute your program in the browser. So here, what we are doing here, whenever we write our program in the browser, you can directly run it by, you can write it in notepad, you can run it by browser. So when I use this IDE here, it is helpful. It is an integrated, here integrated development, here development environment. It's an integrated development environment. We call it as IDE. This IDE here, one is VS Code is one IDE. Second one, Autumn. Third one, brackets. Here, brackets. Here, NetBeans. Here, NetBeans. VS Code, Dreamweaver. Here, Dreamweaver. Here, like this, you can find so many IDEs for our UI development. For our UI development, you can find it here, so many IDEs. IDE is mainly helpful to create our visual integrated development environment. It is an integrated development environment. It is helpful to develop our application with this IDE. Here in this time, I'm using here IDE to develop our application. In this IDE, you can find it here, how to easily develop our application. So first one I'm using here, Visual Studio Code, VS Code. Here in this VS Code, you can go for Google, search for VS Code. Then you can find it here, vscode.exe file. Here you can find it. So just go to the Google. Here, search for VS Code. Here, I'm searching for VS Code here. You will redirect to vscode.exe file. Here, once you search for this, you can find it here. You can find download option. So once you click on that download option, you can see that here, downloadable. Go to the downloads. Here you can find the setup file of VS Code. Here only you can find it here. Setup file of Visual Studio Code. Here, if you double click on it, so couple of next clicks, it will be installed. Here, just I'll click on it. Here, by that, it will go for next steps. See, agree terms and conditions. Next step. Here, next step. And here, install. So, simple installation. It will be installed in your system. So, once it is installed, then go to the start button, search for VS Code. Then you can find it here, that VS Code in your system. You can find exe file, then double click on it. Here, it will show you next steps here. This next steps, after that you can find install button. So if you click on it, it will be installed in our system. So once it is installed, then you can find it here. So the programming part, it is installed in your system. So once it is installed in our system, so automatically you can execute your program. Here, once it is installed, this programming part, once it is installed here, you can find it here. So once installation done, then here we are using here Visual Studio Code. Once installation done, go to the computer start button, search for VS Code. Then it will be opened. So it will be opened in our system. So once it is opened in our system, so what will do it here? So once it is opened in our system, so there is a file option, file menu bar. See here it is open. There is a file option, open folder option, file, open folder. So here under this open folder, just select your own folder for our application. Here, select your own folder for our development. So here I'm creating one new folder for our application, that is 6 a.m. Here July batch. Here July batch 2024 at UI. Okay, here I'm starting one. Here new folder for our July batch. This one, just select that folder. Here, select that folder. After selecting this folder, you can find it here. One is new file, another one new folder. I am creating new folder here, that is HTML4. HTML4 folder. Under this, I am creating here 1.html. I am creating 1.html. Just to separately maintain the programs, we are writing here HTML4 separate folder, and here HTML4 separate folder. Under that, we are creating here that 1.html program. We are writing here 1.html program in our system. So once it is done, you can see that here execution of the code. Here only you can see that execution of the code. So here, when you run your program, see here I'm going for 1.html. This 1.html program, we will write that code related to HTML. Suppose if you write directly welcome like this. So I'm writing directly welcome like this. So to execute this program, I'm going to the documents location. I have 6 a.m. July batch, HTML4, just double click. See, it is not giving any error for us. See, you cannot see any error here. Directly welcome, it is displaying like this. When you run your program, automatically it will execute like this. Okay, so in this time, it is not giving any error for us. But if you write here, there is a file option. You can find open folder. Here, open folder. Select your own folder for our batch. We created 16 AM July 2024 UI. Here at UI, we created, under this, we created one folder, HTML4. Here, HTML4 we created. Under this, we created our 1.html. In this 1.html, just I'm writing only welcome. Here I'm writing in that 1.html program. Here I'm writing directly welcome. I'm not following any standard structure of HTML. But even though that welcome is printing in our system. So even if I don't follow the standard structure of HTML, even though it is printing that welcome message for us. Welcome message will be printed in our system. So in this time, whenever we write it here 1.html program, it automatically execute our program. So in this time, what I'll do it here, suppose if I write C or C++ comparison, here C programming, if I want to write that C program, you can write it here, #include, here stdio.h, and under this we will write it here, void main or int main. Here only we can write it here, void main. Under this, we will write it here, void main or int main. Under this, we will use it here, printf. Printf is a statement. Under this, we can write it here, hello to C language. Hello to C language output, we will get it like this. So hello to C language output, we can get it like this. This is what here our C program, and we are getting that C output like this. I'm writing here one header file. I'm writing that output statement. Here I can write compilation, and here I can do compilation and execution of the program. So we have to compile and we have to execute our program with this Visual Studio Code. Next I'm writing here. So next one I'm writing here that in this C++ programming. Here in C++ programming time, see, I'm showing here different programmings, how the structure is. Here, iostream.h header file. So every time we are adding header library to our program. Next, we will write it is object-oriented programming class keyword. Under this, we will write it here, void main or int main, void main. Then printf. So printf is used to print hello to C++. Hello to C++, generally we will write it for our program. So hello to C++, generally we will write it. And in this time, so we can compile our program, we can execute our program, compilation and execution of the program. You can see here, common here, header files. And startup of the program is by main method. And printf and, sorry, here it is cout. Cout, we use it here to print output statements in the C++. Printf, we use it. Sorry, cout, we use it here to print output statements in C++. In C++ language, we use it here, printf. Sorry, cout. Cout, within double quotes, we'll write it here, hello to CPP. Here, like this, we'll write C++ output. Here, what we are doing here, we are writing C programming. In the C programming time, how to develop our application by the C programming. Here, how to compile and how to execute it, we discussed here. In C++ time, we will write it here, iostream.h, void main or int main, and cout we are using. So this way of development you can show for our execution. This way of development you can show for our execution. Here we are doing compilation of the program and execution of the program. So this time we are following that standard structure of HTML will be here. Standard structure of HTML we have to follow to write our HTML program. Suppose if I write only welcome to C in this program, it won't execute. It will give all errors. If we write this structure, then only it will execute. If I write this structure, then only it will execute. Here we are learning here, welcome to HTML. We are printing here in this C and C++ programming time. It is printing like this. Next, we are going for Java programming. In this Java programming, here Java. In this Java programming, we will use it here, import java.lang.star. Here java.lang.star, and we will use it here class keyword. Why? Because it's object-oriented programming. We will use it here void main or int main. Here public static, not int main. Here standard of main method will be here public static void main under this string AR. So this way we can write it, and then system dot out dot println. Here only you can find it here, hello to Java. So like this, you will print your output for our application. Here also we can do here compilation of the program and execution of the program. Compilation and execution will be common for this. So I'm writing here Java programming. Under this, we have to compile our program. We have to execute our program. I'm writing here C, C++, Java programming. In this comparison time, similar type of structure we'll use it in the our UI programming. Here, but it is not strict to structure. In this, if you don't write any tags, internally, see here, I'm writing welcome. If you right click inspect element on this, see here, if you right click inspect element on this, you can find it here. Standard code of HTML will be here. Here, HTML head body. HTML head body is the standard structure of HTML. HTML head body is the standard structure of HTML. We are learning here doc type HTML head and body. Under this, HTML head body is the standard structure for our web page. Standard structure of HTML, we will use it like this. Here in this time, I am following here doc type HTML head and body. In this time, whenever we write it here, doc type HTML head and body, it always follow basic structure. See under this one.html. So if you don't write, even though it is executing, but generally we have to write for every application. If you check it here, doc type HTML, here is the HTML starting tag, head starting and ending tag, and body starting and ending. So like this, you can show your output. Here only you can find it here, doc type HTML head and body. Under this, you can find it here. In this, you can find it here, that HTML coding like this. Here we are following here doc type HTML head and body. In this doc type, we are writing here document type of HTML. Doc type HTML here, you can understand here document type of HTML. Here you can find it here, doc type HTML head and body is the standard structure of HTML. Under this head, you can see here script tag we are using here to write JavaScript code. Style tag we use it here to write CSS code. Okay, script tag we always use it to write JavaScript code. Style tag we use it here to write CSS code. Inside this body tag, we will write all HTML tags. HTML content, we can write it here like this. Welcome to HTML, you can print. Here, this way we can write our starting program under HTML. Here, this is the standard structure we generally follow to write our programs in HTML. But for this HTML, no compilation. Only you can execute your program by browser. If you write here HTML programming, under this, you can write it here one.html program. Here, this is one.html program. You can execute this one.html program by browser. We can execute this one.html program directly by browser. So we are writing here doc type HTML head and body. Under this HTML, we are following that standard structure of HTML will be like this. Here we are following C, C++, Java, HTML. We are creating our programs like this. C, C++, Java, HTML. So now you can see that here. If I run my program, I can easily execute my program with my programming languages. C, C++, Java, HTML, .NET, all different languages will use it. With that, we can execute our program. How we are executing, how we are writing, we observed. So common things if you observe here, header file. Here in HTML, in C language, we'll use stdio.h. In C++, we'll use ibostream.h. In Java language, we use java.lang.star. Because of this header library, whatever terms you are going to use in your program, this printf, the cout, and system.out.println, static, public, that those are all available in your java.lang. Here, java.lang, in that header libraries, in ibostream.h, in stdio.h. In this header library, whatever programming keywords you are using, those all keywords are available in that header library. Okay, so we are learning here header libraries for our application. In this header library, you can execute your program like this. C, C++, Java, .NET, Python, like that, we'll use it here, different HTML programs. In this different HTML programs, you can see here the development. How to develop our application with this HTML, you can understand. Here we are writing here doc type HTML head and body. Under this HTML tags I'm using here. In this HTML page, I'm using here document type of HTML. Here doc type. Document type. What type of document you are writing here? That we are giving instruction to the browser in the form of tags. The tag is doc type. Doc type nothing but a document type of HTML. And head and body tag is the standard code of HTML. Okay, this way only generally we will write it here, standard code of HTML. Doc type HTML head and body tag, generally we will use it here to write our HTML tags. This is basic introduction to all the topics as well as first topic HTML, that installation procedure and writing a first program in Visual Studio Code. How to execute our programs by Visual Studio Code, I'll explain in the tomorrow session. Okay, how to execute it from VS Code. From VS Code, automatically open the browser, how we can execute it, that I'll explain to you in the VS Code. VS Code to browser, that I'll explain in tomorrow session. Up to now, we discussed here basic introduction part of UI, and that UI related basic one we discussed up to now. Yesterday I got only 2 mail IDs from this batch. See, I created one drive for your batch. See, one 6 AM July batch drive I already created for your batch. Okay, so in that I uploaded here up to now how many classes are completed, all class recordings I uploaded in that drive. Okay, but the drive is shared with only 2 students or 1 student. One is repeated student, only 1 student it is shared. Check it here. See here. This is one drive I created and I shared with only 1 student here. And you can see documents. In this documents, I uploaded course content. This will be available in your Gmail. Go to the drive option. There you can check it, shared with me option. You have to check it in the shared with me option. You can find the 6 AM drive. Documents, paint file. See the list of paint files, whatever classes I have completed, all paint files I uploaded here. Next one here, programs. All programs, what I'm taking here, all programs I'll upload here in the programs folder. And in recordings, Here, everyday class recordings, I'll upload it here in this recordings folder. Here, I'm explaining here, paint file, programs, recordings. So in this recordings folder, I'm uploading everyday class recordings. Okay, you can listen my class one more time using recordings. Programs, till now I didn't started any programs. Once programs completed, I'll upload programs here. And paint file, here I'm uploading everyday class paint file. So whenever I upload it, you will get notification. So once I share this drive with you, you will get notification from my drive once I upload it. So like that, I'll continue my notes. I'll upload all total notes in this way. Yeah. And from organizer, I got information you are not responding to her call. So we have to get feedback of the class and complete your registration, come to the class. Every day 10 students are coming to the class, 8 to 10 students, but I got only one mail ID from that. Okay, so tomorrow class will, this link will change. That link will be shared for only, here this link will be, here, you will get the drive access. Once you respond to their call, you will get tomorrow's link. You will get this drive access and you will get my mail ID. I'll share one hi mail to you. So once once your registration completed, once I get your mail ID, see, I'll share you one hi mail to you. See in my here mail, you can check it. So once I give task, they'll complete the task and they'll send to me. Task 1, table tag, task web, you. Here like this, all task, they'll complete it and they'll send to me. So by that, I will be communicate with you and wherever you stuck, I can help you. So that's why you have to get my mail ID. So for that, you have to complete your registration. So once you complete your registration, then I'll share my drive access and my mail ID with you. So I'm expecting today only this 10 students, here 8 students have to complete your registration, and who are joining at 6:20, 6:40 like that, please try to join on time, 6 a.m. only. Okay, time on time, and then I'll start my session. You can listen my class. And who are joined today newly, for them I have covered what I covered yesterday and day before yesterday. Those all I have covered today. So by that you will get idea about my class. Okay, and today we have completed all introduction parts and we started our first topic. Here, topic 1. Here I'll upload today's date as the session 1. Previous all demonstrations. I'll move it into demo folders. Here, these 2 recordings I'll move to demo folder, and today's recording I'll upload here as the session 1. Like that, session 1, session 2, like this, I'll take around 40-45 sessions I'll conduct for every batch. For every online and offline batches, I'll conduct 40-45 sessions I'll cover for every batch. And I'll take Monday to Friday sessions. It will be 2 months course. 2 months course, only Sunday will be holiday. Here around 25 days and 25 days. 50-hour sessions, in that any 1 or 2 Saturdays if I miss it. So 40-45 sessions I'll upload it in that drive. Okay.
Ma'am, can you share the drive access?
Tarun, you already have my drive access, right? Other batch.
Yeah, ma'am, but not this July batch.
Every drive you won't get. Just you have permission to attend the class. You can check recording from your other class. Everything will be same. Every recording, every drive will be same.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I didn't share it. I got your mail ID. See, I mentioned it is repeated student.
Yeah,
Here.
ma'am, but I have discussed with the DurgaSoft. Then they said ma'am will share the drive access, so that's why.
But you are attending, right? There also.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so if you are attending there, so I cannot delete from here.
Yeah, no issue, no issue.
Yeah, so same drive. Only link will change for this class. So the links you have to get it every time.
Yeah. Thank you.
See, I got yesterday both students' mail IDs. So today itself, I'm expecting you all 7, 8 students. I'll get if I get mail ID before coming to tomorrow class, I'll share my drive access to you. Yeah, thank you. That's it for today. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yes.
1 minute, can you back to the program?
Yeah.
1.html?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
That's it for today. We'll meet tomorrow at 6 o'clock for the continuation of session. Thank you.